Hello everybody, I'm Jade. You might know me from my Instagram, well, one of my Instagrams maybe, the Critters of Oz for my rats, or the Doodles of Oz for my art. This is my first speed paint, and a lot of you wanted me to do commentary, so I'm going to do a little bit of commentary, but I'm not feeling great, so I'll just do a little bit at the start and a little bit at the end, and that's about it. So this was a piece I was commissioned of 3 lovely rats, 1 golden Siamese and 2 agouti rats. The photo was perfect because I'm very picky about things. I like colours to be symmetrical sort of thing, so you have the lightest in the middle and you have the 2 agoutis on the side. It's a good photo. So right now I start from the background before, not the actual background, the background of the rat as in her back, before the foreground, which is her head, because this way I don't have to work on multiple layers or I wouldn't mess up the face by trying to add in the background that goes behind it. It's just a lot easier. It is a bit frustrating because at the start I tend to hate it because I don't see the center of the piece, which is the head and the face. I just see the back, which isn't the center, you know, and then you don't really see the full what it could be at the end. But it worked for me, and I used to work with like 100 layers, and then everything would seem a bit disconnected, and it didn't look right in my opinion. So that's what I'm doing right now. What I tend to do, I've got my colour palette at the bottom, which is the first time I've ever done this, technically, but it worked pretty well. So I've got the colour palette at the bottom, which basically I took colours from the actual photo, so they're the straight colours, but then I edited them all together so that it would go along with the background more. So I increased saturation and hue and changed things and whatnot. So what I'm doing is taking from those colours to add highlights. I usually put the darkest colours down first and then add highlights afterwards. But when you're working traditionally, it's hard to do that because the white might seem too transparent, so it's harder. Now I'm doing the eyes. The eyes I go back later. It was just to see it, so I know where everything was at the time. So I could do the fur around it before I start doing the highlights in the eyes. This piece was really fun to do. I'm splitting this up into 3 parts, so this is only the first part, the first rat. Each rat will have its own part, and it was so fun to do. Oh, my voice is breaking. Oh god. So yeah, it was really fun to do. I really love light colours and I love Siamese rats, so this was just an absolute joy. I also love agoutis. Like my first rat was an agouti hooded. If you know nothing about rat varieties, agouti just means like a type of brown colour, but it can vary a lot. So I think it's a really interesting colour of rat because there's so many different varieties of that colour, and it is the ones here that kind of look like wild rats, and I quite like the look of wild rats. Some people don't because they're seen as pests and whatnot, but I think they're beautiful. The different colours in them, it's really hard to capture that in this painting, which you'll see when I do those two. And I really struggled here, especially with the left one. I hit a wall, and so that video is going to be like twice as long as this one and the last one. So now I'm doing the ears. I use different brushes for this, so a lot of different brushes to add a little bit more texture to them, to show different areas of skin, because skin has a lot of different textures. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just kind of talking. I added some saturation to it because it looked a little bit too dull for the rest of the colours. I tend to mess around with the colours at the end as well, so you'll see that later. Here I started to lay down the highlights and things before blending them together, which I think helped a lot, and I definitely learned that this will help me a lot with the agouti rats. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I've always said it that way, but I might be wrong. So if I am, just let me know. But yeah, no, the mouth is really difficult. because you have like these light parts where it's like kind of bumpy, it's not flat. So I was trying to capture that because you have the parts where the whiskers come out, so you have like I think they're called hair follicles, so or whisker follicles, I don't know the terminology, but they're like small little bumps. So I was trying to replicate that, well I will in a minute, by putting a light color down and then having dark around it. And it's really difficult not to just blend it all together, but if you blend it all together then it doesn't look like bumpy. So that's what I'm doing here. I blend in the mouth so that a little bit, so the outline goes into the face. I don't know rat anatomy very well, so I don't know the terms or anything. This is just what I've observed from drawing rats. So here I am trying to blend it in, but not too much. I've always had a thing where I blend too much and then you lose all the detail, and that's something you don't want to do. Sometimes you've got to just leave it and not add any more. And then maybe when you come back to it later, you'll have new, fresh eyes, and it won't be so different. So I think I'm going to leave you to it now. I've talked for over half this video, so I'll just leave you to it with some music, and you can just chill out and watch the rest of Speedpaint. I hope you enjoy watching my process. thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. The next 2 parts should hopefully be up in the next few weeks, but I have a few mock exams and exams to prepare for, so we'll see how that goes. But thank you so much for watching. Hopefully there'll be more to come soon. So yeah, bye!